We can. Thank you all for coming tonight. This is our second of three, so thank you for doing that. We had a packed house last week and a lot of really good feedback, so looking for more of that tonight. Our format, we'll do a real quick presentation just to kind of level set on what's been happening with short-term rentals and some of the we've got Rick Bradley, who is an IOP resident that is going to be our facilitator tonight, and he'll introduce the other facilitators that are here with us. Rick spent his corporate career in Belk and Bank of America in Charlotte and is now full-time IOP resident. He's done some work for us with city council retreats and this work, and just really glad to have him back. So Rick, take it away first, Mr.
All right. Well, welcome, everyone. I'll add my appreciation for your participation tonight because you're going to do the hard work tonight. I get the easy part here on the front end. Our goal today is to make sure that we get your input, your insights as owners and residents on an important issue that we were facing as a community around short-term rentals. And we appreciate your interest in the community. Let's face it, everyone in the room here may not agree on the subject, and that's okay. It's important that we let everyone be heard on the subject, and your guidance that you'll in turn provide to City Council from your conversations is critically important here. I'm an IOP resident. Been here since 2011. We bought in 2011. Been here full-time since 2014. But I'm not here to offer my opinion. You heard my career background, doing a lot of executive development, leadership development, HR. I've done some marketing stuff as well. And I'm trained and certified in facilitation. I've worked with hundreds of small and large groups over the course of my career. I'm going to spend a few minutes, as the mayor said, talking about how we got here tonight. Then we'll talk through how the rest of the evening will unfold. You'll have the majority of the time tonight to voice your thoughts. What I'm going to ask, thank you, Desiree. What I'm going to ask too is we've got some empty seats. It would be great for the couple of tables there at the back, if you wouldn't mind kind of moving up to an empty seat in one of these other tables. Having a good full table will make sure we get all opinions represented, and you'll also be able to see the screen better here in just a moment. Thank you. As they're doing that, I'm going to start with a few questions just to get a sense of who's here in the room. With a show of hands, how many of you are full-time residents? Okay, a good number of you. How many of you, with a show of hands, are either have second homes here or are part-time residents? Got a few of those as well. And how many of you have short-term rental properties? And a few of those as well. So good. So that's clear that we'll have opinions from all those perspectives and potentially more. I'm sure many of you have reviewed the materials from the presentation back in June that the Planning Commission made to the City Council, specifically relating to short-term rentals. If you haven't read through that presentation, it is out there on the city website. So let's talk about where that work came from. That recent Planning Commission work does support the strategic plan that was adopted earlier this year in 2022. That strategic plan was also developed based on resident and owner input. One of the priorities in that strategic plan that particularly relates to this discussion is to protect the quality of life from the impact of short-term accommodations. So your input here helps us, helps the city address that particular priority from the strategic plan. And then in addition, It also, that strategic plan speaks to leveraging tourism-related revenue to support tourism impacted services. But it's also important to note, and I know this next slide has small print on it, but I'll walk you through it. What's important here is this is certainly not the first time that City Council has addressed this topic of short-term rentals. In fact, it's been a topic of conversation going back over 20 years. And so, for example, I'll highlight a few dates here. Business licenses were required for short-term rental properties going back to 2001. In 2002, the size of new houses were limited. In 2006, the occupancy limits for short-term rentals were put in place. In 2010, council implemented occupancy limits on newly built homes. And then in 2020, there was an ordinance that was passed where the license for short-term rental can be revoked if we've had 5 complaints coming into the city. And here it is, back in 2021, the city went back to the Planning Commission and asking for a further analysis and some recommendations, specifically around potential caps on short-term rentals. So it's important to note again that this is a topic that's been repeatedly analyzed and addressed by the city for now at least 2 decades. So this slide shows the number of short-term rentals dating back to when licenses were first required. Notice that the number had been in a slow decline in business licenses were granted since a peak of about a decade ago. Notice though that at the very end of that, you see a little spike going up in 2022. And I wonder what might have sparked that. Certainly with council raising the question about potential caps, prompted some to get a license just in case. Next slide. Rental occupancy. This one, it really isn't surprising. If you look at the occupancy of short-term rentals on the island, it's not surprising that the numbers peak in June, July, and August, and then dip to the lowest levels in November and December. This slide goes to new built rentals by year. Note that there was a peak year for newly built short-term rentals back in 2003. That's on the far end, the left of the slide. It slowed dramatically during the Great Recession, those 3-4 years, then rebounded in 2014, but it's been on decline since 2017. This slide pie chart shows the various sources of revenue for the city. It's important to note there that short-term rental accommodation taxes and rental license represent 1/3 of the city's revenue stream, more than the city receives from property taxes. Now, why is that important to know? But let's be really clear that this is just a snapshot of the city's revenue today. At this point, council is making no assumptions that it's going to go up or down or stay steady. There's a lot of factors that feed into that revenue. And when we look at some recommendations, I think you'll see why understanding where this might go depends upon where we go with short-term rentals. All right, so particularly now focusing a little bit more on tonight, what is the city really interested in addressing relating to short-term rentals? First, trying to figure out how best to maintain a balance between the needs of full-time residents, second homeowners, and short-term rentals. How do we best minimize any negative impacts to livability, particularly for full-time residents, those of us who are here full-time? Short-term rentals, we've seen are beginning to migrate to areas of the island further back away from the beachfront, to parts of the island that have historically had a lower number of short-term rentals. So some of the livability issues are migrating along with that. And so that's an area of concern. In a few moments, you're going to be discussing potential ideas and solutions around these same issues and concerns. But on your tables, you have a handout that's got two sides on it. I'm going to look at first a very quick summary of the Planning Commission's recommendations that they delivered to City Council back in June around short-term rentals. You've got the copies there on your table, so I'm not going to read them bullet by bullet, but they're there for your reference if you need them as you go through your discussions. What's most important to point out, though, is these are only recommendations. They have not been adopted or acted on by council at this point. And that's where you come in. This is your chance to let council know how they should proceed or not with these recommendations, and add any other thoughts or other actions that potentially you think should be taken based upon the perspective that you bring to the table. So keep that sheet handy, and let me talk now about the process that we're going to go through this evening. As Mayor Pounds mentioned, we've got some additional facilitators that are going to be helping us out there tonight. They're in the back of the room waving at you all. All five of them, they do not live on the Isle of Palms, so they have no skin in this game. They're unbiased, and their role is simply to make sure everybody gets a chance to participate, to help make sure that your comments are captured clearly on the flip charts. Make sure that you stay on topic and don't wander off on an unrelated subject, to help move things along, to help me with timekeeping as well as we go through the evening. All of them are trained and certified in facilitation skills and have many years of combined experience as HR and talent development professionals. So let me introduce them. First is Jocelyn Ring. Jocelyn is the founder of The Ring Effect, a brand strategy consulting firm here in Charleston area. She's a certified facilitator and an executive leadership coach. Bobby George is the owner of Achieving Performance Excellence. His expertise is in organizational change, employee engagement, and learning, with over 25 years of experience in those areas. Mary Chris Del Chiapo is a Charleston native, not as many of those around as there used to be. She now lives in Awanda, is the owner and founder of Front Porch Leadership Coaching. She specializes in helping small businesses grow and helping leaders become all they can be. And she's also a chicken farmer. Kevin Kaiser. Kevin is the owner of Coastal Edge Learning and Development in Charleston. He's got 22 years of experience working for companies all over the world in these areas of expertise. Andy McCarthy is our fifth facilitator, director of organization design at The Building People. He's a certified talent consultant and brings over 10 years of CEO and owner experience in scaling and exiting businesses. Would you please welcome them to the island? Great, thank you. And thank you. They were here with us last week. So they're also a little more topical knowing what y'all are going to be talking about tonight. Let's take a look at the questions. You have those on the other side of that piece of paper, so you can have those in front of you. First question that you'll be dealing with is what are the livability issues you have personally experienced, if any, with short-term rental properties? Second question, if council should decide to maintain the status quo, in other words, no caps on short-term rentals, make no other changes, what would you consider the pros and cons of doing so? Flip side of that, question number 3, is if council should decide to implement caps on short-term rentals, what would be the pros and cons of doing so? Fourth, based upon all of that discussion, what's your recommendation on what actions City Council should take? And then we're going to wrap up, and then we'll wrap up with the last question. And with this last question, it's your chance to kind of deliver a punchline message for City Council. What's out of all of the discussion you have gone through at your table tonight, we're going to ask you at each table to report out to the whole group. What's the one most important message for council that surfaced at your table? We'll take about 10 to 15 minutes per question. If you're finished with one question, it's fine to move along to the next. The facilitators will help us make sure that everybody's kind of moving along at a similar pace. If you're getting way ahead or far behind, they'll help note that for you. I want you to think about this. I want you to be thorough in your discussions. I want you to capture your thoughts clearly and fully. If there are dissenting opinions at the table, make sure those are captured on that flip chart as well. Everybody's opinion matters here. Facilitators, the facilitators will be keeping track of your progress and let you know if you're behind. And most importantly, what we need you to do first is appoint someone to be the scribe for the table. We'll put the flip charts up in just a moment, and we're going to need one of you at the table to actively help document on those flip charts your discussions. And then, as I said, at the end, we'll have each table then report out on that question number 5. After the session is over, we'll collect all the flip charts and I'll be summarizing them across all the sessions and providing a report back to City Council. We'll take one more look here at a few ground rules. As you're thinking through all of this tonight, I want you to participate actively. Try to speak one at a time and make sure that, again, that as you're commenting on one of these questions, that your thoughts are indeed getting captured on that flip chart. There's no right or wrong answers. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, so please treat everyone with respect. And let's try to minimize the side conversations as well. Let's stay on topic. And with that, it's now your turn. So get someone appointed to capture the notes on the flip chart, and you can start diving into that first question.
So we'll go through each of these 5 questions one by one. Open ticket conversation. Please your microphone. One step there. Put the couple here for you. Or up some. I think we can put a question about. All right. So first off, the number is like double one up there. We'll start with facility taxing number. And again, how every day. I don't know. Actually,
No, I'm just.
All right. I'm sure. Say like, I think everybody. Well, good for small little bit. I feel like grow in, we don't have to go retroactively back to the. I'm ready to make it. Don't need to review it right now. Then people coming here eventually be like, well, I'm gonna build a house down in a bigger house. It's gonna cost tear it down and maximize the take again. All of a sudden, it's more basic, over smaller and small pie. All of a sudden, the big, that's Like you have a view like because the supply is automatically and the population is increasing. Was, so things like that, put it out. Almost out. But there was 1,000 people. So, like, this is what we hope to find I think there would definitely be something. Recording like. Yeah, yeah. I would say that would be. Right, maybe. we kept the whole island having report. I'd like to know. Say that. Then you get like a priority to get. Somebody who's got to live here. Yeah, I do. I'm gonna do this. Let's go back over here. Yeah. I just think it's the areas in my so all these things. Like I'm thinking about we're actually considering any find out. You move here and we move here. John, this will stay on how to get. There. I understand that we're trying to have to be moving to think about stuff. I did. I already wrote this.
Let's wrap it up. If everybody could take their seats. Before we get to the report outs, let me just point out, we've got some people here that if you've got additional questions or want to talk to them after the session, our livability officer, Kowski. Everybody hear me? Okay, better. Thank you. All right. Officer Kowski is here. If you want to have any questions for him after the session. Chief Cornett is here as well. If you've got any questions for him. City Administrator Desiree Fragoso is here also, along with the mayor, and Doug is here somewhere. Yeah, Doug Carr with city with zoning regulations, and a couple of council members, Jan Anderson and Katie Myers, are here tonight as well. So if you have any questions after the session, feel free to grab them. Now, what we're going to do is just very quickly. I don't need a long treatise, so this is just a minute or less. We'll go from table to table, and if we could have one spokesman, please, to repeat what the one most important message you have for City Council. Who would like to start us off? All right.
I don't like using, and I can talk loud.
No, you have to use it.
Hello. So we have a really dynamic. But on the 20 years, we had someone involved in. I'm the newcomer, moving to the island, and it's nice to me. But we got, it was a big discussion, but as we went through, the final message was no cap. Everybody felt very strongly about absolutely no cap, no area. But they did feel that we need to do something in regards to help those few owners that rent irresponsibly. And I know we got the livability officer, which is great, but they were saying posting rules and posting the person responsible for the property. So you can start with them first and be neighborly. And if that doesn't work, there's the livability. They also were really.
One message.
Oh, that's it. Okay, yeah.
Okay, hello, I'm Susan, and I've been nominated to speak. And we kind of the same thing, we have, short-term people that have lived here for a very long time. And, so basically, we kind of came up with, you can see, the consensus is kind of enforcement of rules, kind of what y'all said. I know some people kind of felt it would be nice. We were kind of back and forth. Some wanted to cap, some don't, but I think the big, thing about this is about enforcing rules, and all of us have experiences with that, with the noise, with the parties, with, just really out of control. And so, we don't hold our owners accountable, those things happen. So that was really a big takeaway for us. And then, oh, sorry. And they just, I'm sorry. I know, I thought. But just really the enforcement of rules and taking those rules that we have now and enforcing those, whatever that can be, the regulations, rules that have in place.
I think our table pretty much agreed with the first two as well. We took it from the standpoint of don't take away our property rights. And in terms of enforcing the rules, one thing that shocked me was that in 15 years that the right to revoke license has been in place, we found out that only one license has been revoked. So I think that's the message. Enforce the rules we have. If you need to revoke the license, do that. That's the best way to manage the livability with properties. All right, well, we don't have that much. Again, also a diverse group of folks coming from different perspectives. Thank you, ladies. Pleasure working with you. We agree, the ordinance don't help unless they're enforced. Same thing everybody else just said.
A new slant to this is the size of the houses, occupancy wouldn't drive the number of renters, not necessarily the short-term rental license fee. So that's our probably biggest takeaway, having already been living home, so thank you, folks. I'm Bill. This is my table. Yeah, great table. And, yeah, we're going to do our partners here, that, we have a very diverse group. We have, full-time residents, we have people with multiple short-term rentals, and we have second homes, so all over the board. And so our number one thing was, our use was, we had very polar opposites, some, zero short-term rentals to, I don't care, it's all short-term kind of thing. So we were, and then maybe, some, of course, in between. So, I think our takeaway, or my takeaway from that is a very polarizing topic. It's going to be very hard to get it right, and I don't think anybody's going to be happy. I mean, not everybody's going to be happy.
So your message is really pull up to the council.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Stone. We had a diverse group, but a lot of the same conversations I think a lot of the other tables had. We came up with no caps on rental works, but acknowledges that the repeat offenders, and those would be the homeowners, need stricter enforcement.
My name is Chris, and we have not a diverse group, and then we're all full-time residents, all long-term except for one who's been here for a long time. So we are committed to the island. And we all agreed on a need for better enforcement and the priority on public safety. More police or public safety officers, so again, enforcing the rules with or without tax. The rules need to be enforced. We all agree that we like our property rights and community livability is important, but we were divided down the middle. Half for tax, half against tax. So we want the same thing, we just don't agree on how.
Everybody? Great, thank you for your input.
That was a great session. I won't say that you were better than the session last week, but you got through it more quickly. So great discussion. I think you deserve a round of applause for yourself. And thank you to Jocelyn, Bobby, Mary Chris, and Kevin and Andy for your help tonight as well. Remind your neighbors that we have one more session next week, next Wednesday night. We'll do this again. If you've got neighbors who haven't participated, please encourage them. And I'll turn it back to Mr. Mayor for any final words.
All participating tonight. Just for your comfort, maybe if you need it, we're not just focusing on this one last question. We're going to digitize everything you've written on these reports. Rick will come back with the full report back to council after we finish our next session next Wednesday. We've got a little bit of a waiting list being built up. We may wind up with another session. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, folks will come next week to pack us out. But really, very much appreciate the time you gave us tonight. Think of something later. Don't hesitate to email us at all. So thank you again and have a good night.